YouTube when you get a chance too.
Yeah, that's what I'm cooking.
Hi everyone, we're still getting our equipment set up and running a few tests. We're simulcasting on Facebook and Kickstarter, so this is new for us. Just hang in there. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes.
Okay, YouTube is up.
Excellent.
Kickstarter still waiting. So.
Okay, and Facebook we're up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. YouTube is immediate. There's only like a second or so delay.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah. I guess YouTube has been in this long enough to get the idea of how to work the live streams and all that good stuff.
Right.
All right. YouTube's good.
I'm going to share the, I don't know if you can do it from your own devices, but I'm going to share the live stream onto my personal page and onto the community page.
Okay.
It's making it easy for everybody to watch there. Don't mind us, folks. We're going to start in just a minute. We already have 6 people watching on Facebook. We're just getting started in just another minute, folks. Just getting the equipment ready and getting all of our streaming sharing. So thanks for joining us. Wow. All right. All right.
The pre-show we should have started off like fighting each other, you know.
It's like a montage, yeah.
Yeah.
No, the people want to see the fight on screen. We have a lot to argue about tonight here, and
we fight with words.
we're gonna settle this once and for all. Obviously, all of nerddom is waiting for us to reach a consensus.
Yeah. You know, those 2 guys from Grange there.
Yeah, right.
What do they got to say about it?
All right, folks, we're just going to check one last thing because we're live streaming to Kickstarter at the same time, and Kickstarter's on a timer, so I'm just going to check and make sure that that's live as well. This here starting soon. Stay tuned.
I just realized I have the HSPPA shirt on, so James probably be like, "Oh, free advertisement."
James is probably watching, so that's a good
I was going to say,
yeah,
he usually hops onto these, so.
Let me see here. It says we're live, so I'm going to give it a minute, and I'll check on Kickstarter because I don't want to keep everybody waiting anymore. Oh, man, we've already got a lot of comments. That's great. So, hi, everybody. I'm Carmelo.
Hi, Annie.
Thanks for joining us for another Chimera's Comics live stream. We're coming to you from LaGrange in our new store, and we've got a pretty jam-packed agenda tonight. I will be trying to monitor all of our chats at the same time so I can interact with all of you. We've got a chat going on YouTube and on Facebook, and since we're simulcasting, I'm going to be doing a little split personality back and forth to try to interact with everybody. But I'm really excited because our fan base online in particular has grown so much over the last few months. Not by accident. We worked very hard at that, and there's so many of you now that we want to get to know better and get to talk to. And then for me, since I don't get to be in the shop every day, this is my chance to have the conversations with you that I love about a comic book store. And I think that's why people keep coming to local comic book shops.
Yeah, and even some of the people who are not necessarily local to us, like the community page has been probably one of the most surprising things for me. Just like any post that goes up talking about anything, you're going to have someone who likes Twilight Zone, who likes the Pet Cemetery trailer, who likes the new Batwoman thing or whatever. It's just, it's really astounding, but it's also kind of heartwarming because I feel like our group has had, generally speaking, like everybody's super friendly and chill in the way that a comic shop usually is, you know?
Yeah, I think we were just actually talking about that during the pre-show too, that we've got such chill customers for the most part. Like, We had a customer call not 2 minutes ago because he felt bad he couldn't come pick up his comic books and he wanted to pay for them over the phone. And it's just that kind of considerateness and that kind of
in other retail that's unheard of.
Right? Yeah, you don't go out of your way to do any favors for Walmart. You go out of your way to do favors for your friends, right?
Yeah.
And so I think our customers think of us as their friends.
Yeah.
I hope so. So I want to give a shout out to a couple of people. Steve Jasinski is on. He's one of our first customers. And he's a very good realtor who helped us get this wonderful space. So Steve, welcome. Jason's on. From the group. He knows you're going to need help because I'm gonna let you have it about Venom and Justice League in a little bit.
All right, I get it.
Raph's on. Raph Nieves.
Hey, how's it going, Raph?
Chris Forney's on. He says he can't wait to stop into the new shop. Chris, we can't wait for you to come join us. My old buddy Sean Knightley from high school is on. That's great. Good to see you, Sean. Josh Lacey's on from the group. Natalie was your guest last week.
Yeah, Natalie from Psychology of Superheroes. Shout out to Natalie.
That was a great live stream we had last week. It's still on Facebook, and we're going to put it on YouTube too. So if you missed that, Natalie is one of our customers and came and did a psychology presentation, which was pretty cool. It actually inspired me. I would like to do like a philosophy of superheroes if you guys are interested. So if you think that's cool, give me a shout out and let me know that's something you guys would watch because I'd love to do that.
Talk about Kingdom Come the whole time.
Basically, just talk about Christology and Superman. That's exactly the entire. No. Tim Arundel's on, one of my absolute oldest friends, and helped me move some stuff out of here recently. So
I know him as D&D Tim.
That's right. He's our absentee father dungeon master right now because he went and got married, so he can't DM our dungeon because there's no priorities.
What a jerk!
No priorities straight anymore. So we've got a jam-packed agenda, and I want it to be very interactive. So I am going to try to monitor comments and talk to you guys and make this conversational. There's a lot of you I miss and want to talk to. There's a lot of you I don't know yet. I want to get to know. But we'll try to stay on track with some of the things we promised you. So we promised we'd talk about the new store and the direction for Chimera's Comics.
Yeah.
I'll go through the agenda, and then we'll meander through it. We're going to talk about Cellar Door, which is our next Kickstarter, and we're finally ready to reveal some real substance, the release date, the lineup. Yeah, excited. Danny made some awesome original sketches for you guys that we're going to give away as prizes. So if you're watching, just leave a comment. Even if you can't stay the whole time, just by commenting, that'll be how I track who was here, and I can give the prizes away that way. And I'll try to space it out. We planned for an hour, so every 20 minutes or so, I'll give a prize away. It's about a third of the way through.
Do we have a little timer that will kind of give us an idea?
We have a clock. It's the oldest timer, right?
If you want to put it that way.
I mean, I could drag the sundial in if we do that.
We have one of those?
Even if we did, I think it's kind of dark. For sundials. Matt Kleeman says the new spot looks dope. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks.
We also think it looks dope. You were saying about having that feel like a classic comic book store, so we'll kind of start with that.
It's very much like I've had a lot of my subscribers, really, really good customers that have been with us since forever, since the beginning, coming in, and they've said that like it still feels very much the way that our old store felt because we've got the bright colors and it's very open and all that, but because of the sort of almost boutique feel of the shelves and the layout, it feels like the first comic shop that they went into when they were a kid, very newsstandy. Nice. And so I kind of like that there's that meeting of like the origin of comics and where they've come from and where they used to be sold into here's what comics can be now and here's what the community can be now. So it's super heartening for just all the positive reception that we've been getting and everyone coming to visit and telling us they love the new space and like it makes the work it's already worth it because you have to love this kind of thing to be in it, but it just makes it 10 times more worth it when other people are, super into what you do. Right.
I feel that way about this live stream where like when the first time we did it, I didn't think anybody would watch.
Yeah.
And there's 11 people just on the Facebook right now, and that number will fluctuate as people come in and out over the next hour. But by the time we were done with the first one, something like 1,200 people watched it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. People just want to hang out and talk about this stuff, which I think was, that was a big part of starting the Facebook community page was just like, we already post this stuff on our regular timeline all the time. Why don't we just share it here so that like all of our other friends who are not into this sort of thing don't have to necessarily get like, a bunch of Thanos car memes and stuff in their feed. So it kind of controls where it goes, but it also, yeah, like I've made a bunch of new Facebook friends, people that either I've met before here now, or they're out of state and I haven't met them, but we're friends on Facebook now just because it's like minds. You know?
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and that's some reason I'm very excited about our Facebook group. And the group was something we actually had for a long time and never did anything with because we kind of didn't have a vision like that.
Yeah.
And then we kind of did have this idea of like, well, what if we had the group was the way we have the conversations in the store?
Yeah.
To do that in the group, and it's worked. I mean, I don't know how much you guys care about like numbers, but I see like metrics, right? I see who's involved. We've got over 1,200 members in the group right now, and there's 750 plus active people every day in there commenting, liking, and sharing.
Yeah,
it's incredible, right?
And again, it's that sort of thing where not even everyone is local, but some of the people that when we share, like occasionally we'll share when the store itself is having events in there. And we'll just have like new friends stop by and just be like, yeah, I've been out of the comics world for however many years. And they subscribe to a title, and now they are my weekly people that come in and we talk shop. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. So we have Ryan Mastelers wants to throw out that he loves our Facebook community page. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah.
You're a welcome part of it.
You're a big part of it.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Jason pointed out that the new spot looks smaller. I'm glad you mentioned it, Jason, because that was intentional, right? And I'm gonna give it to you straight because this is a small business. There's no reason for me to have a company line. In LaGrange, rents keep going up and businesses are closing left and right. And it's very depressing. This block alone had a third of the spaces were vacant. And then it's cyclical. The new ones will come in and then a year later, more will be out. And it's sad, right? Small businesses, it's a tough time. You've probably all heard me say 2017 was the worst year for retail in the United States history. 2018 trending the same way. I just heard we might lose Barnes and Noble. So these things, it's not even limited to small business. It's just retail. So we had to make a decision, right? We had all this space that we weren't using. It was not full of product. It was not being used for tournaments and things like that, like it used to be. And paying for all that beautiful space and beautiful high ceilings meant we couldn't carry products that you've come to expect from us, like bags and boards and things like that were really hard for us to stock. At the same time, we have a really strong, loyal customer base. So it didn't make sense to not be in LaGrange. You guys are here. You're here with us right now. Yeah. And so we made the decision to streamline, right? We wanted that boutique comic shop feel. And in so doing, we could streamline what we were carrying and make it maybe more targeted to what you've been asking us for. We had a lot of stuff that, frankly, people didn't want, and that's fine. You told us what you do want.
Yeah, and that's what happens over the years with a business, any business really, that especially comic shops that take on new product every single week. Is that you're going to see stuff fluctuating, you're going to see some stuff moving, but you're going to learn what isn't moving as well. Right. So in this case, we're already seeing like immediate returns on it too. I mean, we've only been here a few weeks, and already we have a ton of new statues. We have more shelf copies of things. We've got tons and tons of supplies. New toy sets, the new Venom set, new Magic boosters and bundle packs and stuff, D&D books, D&D, like all kinds of little tchotchkes and things that, having to set aside these huge chunks for bills and such, like now that's free and open, and we haven't lost any of our, our people here. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, they're 2 stores down that way. I'll just walk that way, and here we are.
That was the best reaction I got when we were moving, was that people would say, "Oh my God, you're moving! Where are you moving to?"
Yeah,
and we're like, "Oh, we're going 2 doors north," and then nobody cared anymore.
Yeah,
everyone's like,
okay,
that's fine.
Yeah, we'll find you. Yeah.
That doesn't change my life at all. So that's and that was the reaction we got. Let's see. Nick Ulanowski says it would be a shame if we lost Barnes and Noble. Yes, it would. Our friend Jimmy Litz, he's in Cellar Door. He says the people want the sundial. So maybe we shouldn't have glossed over the sundial so much. Yeah. Arundel's glad we have D&D books. Steve. Steve says it helps that you are dedicated and passionate too. We haven't cashed in. He's glad to be our client and friend. Aw. See, it's stuff like that. It's like, when was the last time you called Walgreens and we're like, Walgreens, I'm glad we're friends. Like, you just.
Yeah, like, I think the most I've gone has been, like, if someone was really, really nice or something and good at service. Like,
right.
I'll tell their manager, but beyond that, I'm not like, I love you, Walgreens.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, we got a question from Juliet. She wants to know if we'll be bringing HeroClix back. Juliet, yes, we are going to be carrying HeroClix. In fact, we have some now that we're restocking.
Batman Adventures.
Yeah, we have the animated Batman series of clicks. So, and we'll be getting the new ones in. As far as holding the gaming tournaments, if the interest is there, we're always going to be willing to revisit that. There is room in the new store. I didn't think there would be, but as long as we were not open for business, we could easily set up a single row of tables and chairs down the middle, and it would be fine. Yeah. It's not like in the old store, we could kind of have the tournaments going and be open at the same time.
Right.
But even that I don't know how good that was, because I did have people say, I don't come to that store because on Wednesdays they do gaming. And
I wouldn't go in Friday because it's crazy and there's a lot of people running around and stuff, So I think, like I said, it's sort of a learning curve just as you go. Like, and there are things that, at one point maybe were really, really successful that as the years go by and as times change are not anymore. I remember HeroClix used to be kind of in waves.
Right.
So. Yeah, who knows? If there's interest for it, then I'm sure that we could figure out something. Same thing with the signings and stuff. Like, we're still going to have authors come and hang out here. And
absolutely.
We've got. It's not as limiting as it probably looked before we moved in here.
Yeah, I too was skeptical when I first looked at it, but it wasn't then a question of like just moving the store. It was a question of, can you redesign this store to work with this space, right?
Yeah.
We had a lot of space, so we used it. We went up, and we had a lot of fixtures in the middle of the store. We had a lot of like tournaments and stuff. Then I come in here, and it's like, all right, well, what would a comic shop look like in here? And then it's like you said, it's a maybe more familiar, old-fashioned kind of look.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. It was a little bit like just not entirely taking it out, but trimming the fluff.
Yeah. So, that's what I have for you about the new space. We can continue to answer questions about it. A couple of notes I want to throw out there. If you guys want to call in, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but you can call the store phone. You can call us at 708-352-1230. We'll take your calls. Maybe we can do it that way too. I have no idea if that's going to work. But
10 cents a minute?
If it doesn't work out, we're going to just can't kill the phone, but I want to try it. 708-352-1230. We'll put you on speaker.
I should probably grab a phone.
Yeah, keep one handy. The other thing is, at the end of the broadcast, I've already scheduled. It's going to premiere on Facebook and on YouTube. We made a short film last weekend. My brother directed it, and we directed it together. He starred in it. My wife starred in it. It's called The Clockwork Man, and it's all done in a single take horror film that we did in my house. And we're going to share that with you, the world premiere at the end of the broadcast tonight. The Clockwork Man is one of the characters featured in Cellar Door, which we'll talk about in a minute. We had a good question about our last Kickstarter campaign, which I'm glad we wanted to talk about that as well. But quick, Uncle Rafi here wants to know, Rafael Nieves, a good friend of ours, one of the creators of Cellar Door, which we'll be talking about in a minute. Yeah. He wants to know the address for the new shop. The address is goofy ass. It's 15 and a half South LaGrange Road. 15.5 South LaGrange Road. It kind of like platform 9 3/4, where you just kind of have to run into a wall and you're there. No, not quite. But the truth is, this space actually, there's a lot of spaces on this block. Used to be alleyways. There's a 31.5 LaGrange Road that was the same way, and then someone just slapped a roof on it and a floor, and it became a place. So that's why they're.
Someone said, "Let's make some money on this place." See?
Right? Yeah, this alleyway doesn't make any cash.
Well, and it's funny because a few years ago I wouldn't have believed that an address like that existed. But when I was in Oak Park, I had an apartment that was not even a studio, and that address was half. Because there was like businesses below it, and then above it was the half part of it. It's super weird, and like people don't believe me when I tell them, and I'm like, no, look at the door, it's real. Right. These are real things. I promise.
Thing, yeah. Shout out to my friends Tim and Jerna who are watching on YouTube, and of course Marty and Doug with them. These are some of my oldest friends. They're fellow man-quistadors. We go on man quests together periodically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those of you who don't know what a man quest is, my friends and I, we go on these semi-annual or periodic road trips and explore and do adventurous things together, and we call it man quest.
Yeah.
And Tim and Jerna are both man-quistadors with me. So
hi, man
welcome,
quest
guys.
people.
I'm glad you're here. Rhonda says hi. Hi, Rhonda. Nice to see you. Rhonda Richardson.
Hi, Mom.
Natalie threw out some ghost faces. I'm not sure what that's in reaction to. We're not. There's like just enough lag where I'm like not sure what. I assume she's just excited about all the dramatic things we're saying.
Something that we were talking about.
Maybe it's the Clockwork Man. Anyways.
Maybe. Yeah.
We're coming up close on when I'm going to give away a first prize, but I also promised you some fireworks tonight. Danny and I are going to have a couple of arguments here. You know, we're going to try to keep it civil. I can't make any promises. I argue for a living. Danny gets yelled at by customers for a living. So, yeah, this could get ugly.
Anything that I don't like, I am always very, at least initially, I am always very much about giving initial respect and being constructive in my criticism. So jokingly online, I'll throw out gifts all day of like, put them up, let's do this. But in person, like I like to think I'm pretty chill. It's just when people are yelling at me, then I get excited and I'm like, no, you know what? So hopefully it won't get to that point because we're going to blow the speakers out. But yeah, we'll see.
I told Danny before we started that I was going to mansplain all this to her, and she pulled out a box cutter and stabbed me between my third and fourth rib.
Yeah,
and I had it coming.
He's bleeding out, right?
I am. I just kind of, I shoved some comics in there to kind of hold it together. Yeah, as long as I don't like fall out of myself, I'll be okay. But that'll be the last time I try to mansplain.
So if you feel like coming into the shop and quizzing me on my comic book knowledge, I'm here for it.
I get why. I can't believe that that's a thing that happens, but what I don't get at all is why does that happen to the manager of this comic book store? In what universe are you not the most knowledgeable person about everything in this store?
But it's way more common than you think. Like I actually have some friends of mine who are owners of comic book shops. Like they own the shop and work there during the week, kind of the way I do here. And they are like, I came here on the weekend and there was this guy helping and so on. Where is he? He's probably the manager, right? She's like, no, I'm the owner. And like, they like won't believe her, get mad at her and stuff. And it's like, I never understood that because it's more like, no, like that's just another person to like talk about this stuff with. Yeah. So I don't know. Very strange.
Bill thinks fireworks seem dangerous because we sell flammable products all up and down the store. And to that I say, Bill, I'm in charge. All right, if I want to set off fireworks in my store, I'm going to set off fireworks in my store. I'll probably go to jail for it.
I know where the fire extinguishers are. Don't worry.
See, she's got this. I on the other hand, have a poor track record with fire.
I won't let him destroy himself.
Well, thankfully, that's why I got married. My lovely wife makes sure I don't destroy myself.
There you go. There you go. I won't let you destroy the store.
So we're going to give away our first prize, and I'm going to give it away on Facebook because we have the most comments. Let's pick a number between like 1 and 10, and whoever's comment that is, we'll give them the first prize. We're going to give away, should we start with Venom, and then we'll start fighting about Venom? Danny did this awesome sketch. She does these Sharpie commissions by hand. You sell these too, right? For like $5 you do these for people, something like that. So if you ever want a Sharpie commission from Danny, but she did Venom at my request, so I could use the hashtag in all the posts. And now we're going to give it away. Should we start with Venom?
Yeah.
Let's do Venom. All right. So the winner of the Venom commission sketch, pick a number, 1 to 10.
Lucky number 7.
Lucky number 7. All right. The 7th comment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Chris Forney, congratulations. Chris, you have won the Venom commission here. I will we should probably write that down on a post-it note or something.
Yeah, actually, I was gonna say.
Let's grab a couple of them so we can use them.
Yeah, I'll grab it.
Yeah. Congratulations, Chris. When you come see the new shop, we'll have your Venom waiting for you, and we'll give away another sketch in a few minutes to tease you guys. Hopefully, you stick around. We're gonna give away the Predator. I really dig this one. You should see it up close. The webcam doesn't do it justice, but she really captured all the armor and the netting, and it's just really cool.
First time drawing Predator. It was really fun.
And the last one we're going to give away tonight is Michael Myers. I'm super, super stoked about the new Halloween movie. I call it a second chance sequel. I want you guys to remember that. It's going to be a thing. Second chance sequels. It's usually after we did a crappy
that's going to
movie.
relate into Venom, right?
Yes, exactly. Right, exactly. I see. All right, let's just have it out. Why did you like Venom? Did you actually finish this one, or did you watch it?
No, I watched the whole thing because I knew I was like that weekend that I was going to be doing a podcast about it, and I figured we would end up talking about it on the live stream today. Yeah. So I will say outright, I didn't hate Venom. I was incredibly disappointed by it. And
that's worse though, right? That's like when a parent says, like, I'm not mad at you, I'm just disappointed. Yeah, that's so much worse.
I guess it kind of is. Like, because here's the thing. I went into it wanting to like it. Right. And it wasn't necessarily that I set a high bar or anything. Like, because, like, you know, nowadays with comic book movies, all of these different studios have certain bars. You know, the MCU has a bar that's been set. The DCEU has a bar that's been set. And so when I look at the bar, it's like, oh, okay, so if it's at least as good as Wonder Woman or better, then great, we're on the right track. With Sony, the last thing they did was the Amazing Spider-Man movie. So I was like, that's long ago enough that they might have a different direction. I didn't know what to expect. So I went in with the thought in my head of, if we see some cool looking like symbiote graphics, some cool fights, then I'm happy.
Right.
Now that being said, I just feel like the writing and the directing was pretty poor. And then that coupled with the graphics being as bad as they were, it just blended into something not happy for me, which again, it really sucks. Like, I wanted to like it, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you did, except for the writing and the directing and all the parts where they made the movie.
So
right. Is that what we're saying?
So here's what I offer when I'm talking about positive, like complimenting the movie.
Got it.
So the big concern going into this movie from almost everyone, it seems, was how are they going to do this story without Spider-Man?
Yeah.
And I think at its foundation, the idea, the basic concept that they came up with for the story was a very successful way to do that movie without Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And Tom Hardy, I think, is a great actor. I've liked anything I've seen him in so far, right. Including Dark Knight Rises, which, you know, that's kind of half and half for people. So I feel like there were a lot of things setting up. It had a $200 million budget. You know, I feel like there was a lot of steps like, okay, this could be good. This could be good. This could be good. And then I saw what I saw, and it was like, oh man, that's what they did, huh? You know.
Well, David Byrne here on Facebook says so much missed opportunity. David, I'm curious, what did you miss? What do you think they could or should have done? I'll tell you what I liked about it. I thought the banter between Eddie and the symbiote was really good.
Yeah.
I did think the plot was nice and straightforward. It wasn't overly complicated. They didn't try to cram too much in.
Yeah, yeah. They ended the spaceship thing like towards the beginning.
Right.
They were like, okay, yep, guess what? It's from space. We're moving along.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't ask too many questions.
Yeah, it's like Predator.
From space. Yeah. And that works. And I liked the villain. I thought while he maybe could use a little bit more development, I think he was very charismatic and very interesting. I thought he was cool. I'll tell you what I didn't like, all right? Because I'll be honest with you, it was not. I gave it a B. I gave it a solid B. I was entertained.
That's still generous.
It was generous, right? Here's what I didn't like about it. Spoilers. Spoiler alert. I know it's like the biggest sin you could commit on the internet is not saying spoilers. But if you haven't seen Venom or you don't want to spoil it for you, then fast forward or press pause. Or now's a good time for a bathroom break.
Yeah, mute for a minute.
Yeah, so like the symbiote goes through like a little like develop. It goes through an arc of its own where it like first just kind of wants to use Eddie as a ride, and then it's kind of like, no, I like Eddie, I like Earth, and I'm a bit of a loser where I come from, and I'm an awesome like rock star here. Yeah. So I'm gonna stay. And I'm going to try to save the Earth from an invasion of symbiotes that'll just eat the place. And I like that arc, actually. But there is like I feel like there's like a gap. There's definitely missing scenes where the symbiote gets to be more friendly with Eddie. It doesn't really happen.
It reminded me of Justice League, where the initial cut. No, listen.
Dragging it.
No. Listen. It reminded me of Justice League in the way that when they first announced it, they said it was going to be about 3 hours, like 10 minutes less than 3 hours, right?
Right, yeah.
And then 10 days before it came out, they said, just kidding, it's not even 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it felt like there were big chunks taken out of it. So I'm very curious. And Tom Hardy said himself, he was like, there's about 40 minutes worth of footage that didn't get put in the film that was some of my favorite stuff.
Yeah, and that cracked me up because if you watch that interview, he says exactly what Danny said, and the director's next to him. He's like, hey, shut up, Tom.
Yeah, be quiet.
Quiet. We don't want to Josh Trank this thing, or Josh Trank this thing.
Yeah, but no, like, you know, yeah. I've been trying to I've been trying to look into myself and be really introspective about this whole experience. And like I've seen like Tumblr blowing up where they're very much about like they talk about the relationship between Eddie Brock and the symbiote, and it's like there's all these little like head canons and things that didn't happen in the movie that I was like, oh yeah, like if I think of it that way, it makes it better. But that's the problem though, is that that's wishful thinking rather than this is what I was watching. And when the one big thing I will say is that when I went home after I went and saw the movie, I did a podcast about it on Sunday, and then I went home Sunday, and I think I was on Twitter, and one of those like automatic ads started playing a video, and it was for Venom, and I was like, man, in this ad, like he looks so cool. But when I went to go see it, we saw it on IMAX, and I wonder if that was a mistake. If that was like too big, you know? Yeah,
I mean, and maybe I saw it on the regular screen. I thought he looked awesome. That was one of the things I did like about it, was that Venom looked cool.
Yeah.
I liked watching him jump around and stuff. I do think when the two symbiotes were fighting each other at the end,
that was very, very Spider-Man 3.
It was like the Transformers movies where like they're just these like pixels of color wrestling. I have no idea what the hell I'm looking at anymore.
Yeah. Who am I rooting for?
Yeah, it's like, what was wrong with just Venom just like punching and throwing Riot around? They had to like get all goopy and shit.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I did think it was pretty cool. I liked Tom Hardy a lot. I liked that they set up Carnage and that they didn't use him in this movie.
Yeah, I don't think it was disappointing enough that I won't go see the next one.
Yeah.
I'll say that. Yeah.
My wife is watching. I miss you, honey. I love you.
Hi, Chris.
Yes. Chris is fantastic, and she has been obsessively making buttons for us to sell at the store, which I know sounds like I'm using her for labor, but she loves making crafts and buttons, and she was just like, get me a button maker and give me piles of stuff. I want to make buttons. I was like, cool. That sounds good to me. So hi, honey. David Byrne agrees something's missing. He thinks they could use an R rating in Venom. Jimmy Litt says, in quotes, reminded me of Justice League, Gauntlet Throne. The people want to hear us fight about Justice League. That's coming.
All right.
Also, real quick.
I'd rather watch Justice League than Venom.
What? You walked out of Justice League.
I saw the whole thing eventually.
You did watch it?
I did, yeah. But I think the only reason I saw it, I was like, okay, someday I'll probably watch this again, maybe. And then I think at my partner's work, they got in a 4K copy, and he's really big on 4K stuff lately.
Right.
So he was like, well, they had it, and we don't really have that much 4K stuff, so I guess we'll try this. And I was like, all right, fine, let's sit down and watch it. Yeah. So
real quick, Guy Casper just tuned in. Guy is working on Cellar Door with us. He's actually might be our very first customer, but he wants to know what's been going on. So quick recap for those of you just joining us.
I stabbed him. He's bleeding out currently.
That's right. I stuffed the wound with comic books.
Yeah.
I convinced Danny that Venom was an awesome movie. That just happened a minute ago. You just missed it.
Oscars. Let's do this.
We gave away this Venom commission to Chris Forney. We're going to give away another one in 9 minutes. We're going to give away a commission of The Predator. We're going to talk about Cellar Door in just a few minutes. We talk about the new shop and streamlining things. And now Jimmy Litz has been egging us on to fight about Justice League, so we're going to do that now.
Okay.
All right, so here's the thing about Justice League. It was not a great movie, right? It was not like Avengers great. Okay?
No, it wasn't.
But here's the thing. It was missing huge chunks. Like, it should have been 3 hours.
Yeah.
But it was such a good course correct for DC that I liked it. And I want to spread the word that it was good so that they keep going in that same direction. DC is so mercurial. They're like, you want it really dark? Oh, is it too dark? We're sorry. Well, let's go really fun. Oh, is it too fun? Like, make up your minds and pick a tone. And Justice League, they finally looked like the characters I knew. Like Henry Cavill was always good as Superman, but he was always like super sad.
Yeah, Man of Steel, that movie is like the most blue-hued movie I've ever watched in my life.
Yeah, in Justice League, he's smiling, he cracks jokes, but he's still strong and cool.
If only he could smile without the blockage of photoshopped mustache.
Of course, without the mustache.
Here's why I egg
straight for the throat.
Here's why I egg about graphics. Okay, it's because not just because I'm an artist. That is a big part of it, but I've argued this before about comic book movies, even older ones. Comics are a visual medium. That is their purpose, right?
Sure. Yep.
So if you are taking on a project, typically of love, to make a superhero movie, and I guess nowadays it could just be for the money, but before, when this wasn't a big thing, it was potentially you were taking on this movie because you loved the character and you wanted to see them realized. You have to dedicate a certain percentage of your budget and a certain percentage of your inspiration and your motivation towards giving the audience a visual treat. You need to do that. So that's what bothered me with Venom is I just wish things were just sharper and a little better in that regard. But for Justice League, like I guess I was kind of bugged by it because when I saw Wonder Woman, that wasn't even a perfect movie, but I still felt like, okay, it felt like watching the first Avenger, where it was like, oh, wow, like they, almost overall, they really nicely tied all of this together.
Right.
And for Justice League, when I finally did watch the whole thing, that like second half of it where some of the more fun stuff happens, everyone fighting together and not people aren't mad and like trying to kill each other and whatever.
Right.
I felt like that was a little bit better, but there were some things in that movie that like it just didn't make sense plot-wise that made me so angry. Like, like the last mother box, we have to protect it. And then something happened, like I think Superman shows up, and instead of even one of these people staying behind to watch that mother box, they're like, let's all go outside and see what's going on with Superman and leave this incredibly powerful, dangerous thing that we know the bad guy's looking for by itself.
That's a really good point.
And then he's like, oh, yoink.
You're not wrong. But
hey, Superman and the Flash racing.
Yeah, that was great.
That's good shit.
The reprisal of like the Christopher Reeve theme, or the reprisal of like the Tim Burton Batman theme, the Danny Elfman theme. There's like a lot of good stuff in that movie. And again, it's far from perfect, but it is such a better step in the right direction in terms of tone. Like the Batman and Batman versus Superman is just this murdering jerk.
Yeah, it was better than Batman versus Superman 100%.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the complaints people had about that movie got taken out on Justice League. And I do. If I have one big problem with Justice League, it's the villain, though. I think Steppenwolf looked goofy.
That was a bad
choice. The CGI was bad. No one cares about that character. He had no motivation. And that's an easy fix. He could have just been scared. That's a motivation.
Right.
It could have just been him like, if I don't conquer Earth, Darkseid's going to kill me. And that would have been a believable, somewhat relatable motivation.
I wonder if they didn't do that, though, and like with the mother box thing, they had to be kind of tiptoey because they didn't want to make it too much like Loki and the Cosmic Cube or the Tesseract in the first Avengers.
I guess, but he doesn't seem that scared in that one.
I don't know. And in any case, like,
Yeah. Quick shout out to my old high school buddy, Jerome Murphy's online. Jerome, good to talk to you again. Let's see here. We've got also joining us Eric Haverish. Eric as well.
Oh, hey.
Man, I knew Eric when he shot the 10th Planet, like when I was 14 in Oak Lawn. And then when 10th Planet closed, he came over to us, and he's been with us ever since. So
the whole Haverish family is a joy.
They are. They're terrific. So let's see here. Some people think James Gunn doing Suicide Squad is going to be awesome. We've got a comment on that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of comments that Justice League was rushed, that they just added too many new characters with no backstory. That's probably true.
Yeah. Because they tried to get the success that Avengers had without the work.
Right. They didn't put the work in. That's true.
So, you had Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman, I guess, would have been their Batman origin film or whatever. And then Wonder Woman, but then you have Aquaman, Flash, and Cyborg introduced.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to throw around. I will say, towards the end of the Justice League, I felt more and more like like good about Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yeah. Well, we have one last argument to have, and it's about Rick and Morty, but that's going to get really nasty. So before we do Rick and Morty, I think maybe now is a good time to talk about Cellar Door. I think maybe
sure.
Let's talk something fun that we actually.
We'll take a break so we're not
take a break from all
totally
this fighting.
fuming.
Though, for what it's worth, Guy Casper agrees. Of all the villains they could have chosen, they chose Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
I didn't even know who the hell it was until that movie came out.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I got a little visual aid here because I'm going to try to show you some artwork. I promised that I would release the release date for Cellar Door today, as well as show you guys a little bit of what's inside, or at least tell you like who the lineup is and what they're working on together. And this stuff, we're going to put all this out there. There'll be we have a little interview done with each creator, which is really cool. I'm very excited about. But guys, I can't tell you how pumped I am for Cellar Door. Like I've now all except 2 of the stories done, like 100% done, and I've read them all. They're awesome. Some of these are really creepy. Some are more fun. Some are like aliens and monsters, and some are just more like total mind. Can I say the F word? I don't know. Can we do that?
I said the S word by accident, and I corrected myself, so I don't know. It depends on who's watching. But yeah, like the thing that from what I've seen of just a few like preview pages and things like that, there are so many different styles of comic in this book.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm really excited.
And it's a true anthology in that way, right? It's like, so, you know, I mean, one of the stories was literally done in Crate.
Yeah.
And it's cool and it's a great story. It's why I actually really pushed my friend Tim hard to include it, and he was all about it. So I'm trying to pull up on the iPad here because I have I might be able to show you some artwork on the screen as we go through it. So
yeah, like there's some stuff in it that is like, there's some stuff that feels very like Spawn Witchblade-esque. There's some stuff that feels very like classic, like Bernie Wrightson style horror. There's like more indie kind of like zine looking illustration stuff. There's like straight up West, you know, like your more typical Western style comic. Like it's just,
and what
it's crazy.
ties it all together, I think, is these. And what I told everybody who participated is, I said, think like Twilight Zone. Think like those kind of twisty, turny stories that make you look at the world a little bit differently.
Oh,
hang on.
Someone's offended.
Oh, excuse me. Journo, or maybe Tim, I don't know. I think they share an account because they're married and they do everything together, of course. She says it was colored pencil. The original was crayon. I actually did find the original. Maybe we'll use it as a Kickstarter reward. I don't know. But yes, it's a fantastic story called Pumpkin Patch. Actually, I'll start with Pumpkin Patch. So Tim McIlvain is one of my oldest childhood friends. I think we've known each other since kindergarten. Mm-hmm. And he wrote and drew the silent comic Pumpkin Patch. He did it originally on 24-Hour Comics Day. We had like, we made like pages for kids to color comics in, and he just made like a quick one.
Nice.
But it stuck with me because it was a perfect 3-act formula, right?
Yeah,
the pages, like you folded them in half and made a comic book, so it had the cover on top, and then it had 3 pages. So he made each page an act, and it was like, it was chilling. It wasn't anything crazy, and it was just creepy, you know? But what made it so creepy is he drew it so cute. Yeah, he's got a very like doodly fun style. So Pumpkin Patch is in Cellar Door. That's one of the stories from Tim McIlvain. I'm going to take it alphabetically from the top. I don't have any final art to show you of this one yet, but this is Danny's story, Badland Lights. Dan, you want to tell them what Badland Lights is about?
Yeah, sure. So Badland Lights is a short comic that is about this teenage runaway in Arizona who is kind of bouncing from place to place, looking for a place to spend the night. And he finds this like new development community of like all these big houses, and some are under construction. So he decides, okay, I'm going to stay in one of these for the night. And what he doesn't realize is that there's something weird and sinister that's going on in this like gated community that seems unknown to everyone. No one knows what's exactly happening, but you find out about it in Badland Lights.
Badland Lights, another story in the Cellar Door anthology. This one's from Danny. The next comic I want to tell you about is called Blackbirds on the Road. This is from our friend Rafael Nieves, and I think Tony Maldonado.
Tony Maldonado, yes.
With colors by Wesley Wong. And this is a story that Raph tells me that they'd wanted to do a series for a while, and this is the pilot for that. And this was this was their kick in the butt to finally do the pilot.
Yeah, all three like stupidly talented people, just unbelievably good at what they do. So I really hope that this is the kick in the butt, because like anything more from all three of you guys, like I want that stuff.
So these are just some of the progress pages. I've got some black and white ones and some color ones here. But this one, I think it's semi-autobiographical, because this totally looks like Rafi here.
And Tony.
And Tony, yeah. I think it's about two guys who are on the road in between Comic Cons, and they come across strange things on the road. I think that's the premise of the series.
I feel like Raph would be the kind of person who would have those ghost stories to tell. You know,
right?
But he'd be super chill about it. Like, yeah, that's a thing that happened.
Right, yeah. So I guess we're all kind of wondering, Ralph, if that's a true story or not. So jury's out on whether Blackbirds is a true story, but it's in Cellar Door. The next one, just again going alphabetically, I'm super pumped for this. Not because I wrote it, but because Guy Casper drew it.
Yeah,
and he nailed that classic Bernie Wrightson old creep show horror kind of comic.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm trying to get the pages to load for you guys here, because they're very high.
They're big files. Yeah.
So, I wrote a story called Cellar Door that takes place inside of the anthology of the same name. And in this story, a writer retreats to a haunted mansion to, well, he doesn't know it's haunted. He retreats to this mansion to overcome writer's block. Raph confirms, by the way,
actual
events. Blackbird on the Road's based on actual events that happened.
So now you have to buy
You've got to read it.
You have to know what happened.
I'm totally going to sell that as based on a true story now.
Yeah.
So anyways, in Cellar Door, this writer goes to get to a secluded mansion to overcome writer's block, and he finds a creature there that feeds on his stories. So it's sort of like, he got every writer's wildest dream is he got a hungry audience, but now he's got to keep feeding this thing, or it's going to eat him. And so he's going crazier and crazier as he stays up late and doesn't eat. And here's a look at some of that artwork. So this is the story that, like all the other stories, are going to be a part of and take place in.
Look at those bookshelves.
Just look at that. Oh my God, look at that.
House.
It reminded me so much of Wrightson's work on Frankenstein. But this stuff is just fantastic. So, again, each of the stories in Cellar Door are going to be stories that this author is feeding to the monster in the cellar. And so that's, sort of, that was sort of the idea. I really got it actually from Guy, because Guy showed us the cover for Cellar Door, and it's this awesome monster just like going like this with its finger from behind the door. And I just thought, like,
the cover was the first thing that I saw of his work, and it like blew my mind.
Yeah,
I've seen some of his work before. Guy, you're obviously there. I've seen some of your work before,
right?
And it was just really awesome. Like he did a piece for Magnificent. That was really cool, but it was very bright and very Superman-esque, where it's very triumphant and heroic. And just to see like a slightly more sinister piece, I thought was really, really cool. Like just that juxtaposition of what, he can do this type of thing, but also this type of thing.
Right. He's so extremely versatile in his work. It's really fantastic. I'm going to check the comments real quick. I think we're coming up on giving away another prize. So we're ready to give away Predator. So let's pick a number this time. Let's pick a number from 10 to 20. And we're going to give away this Predator commission to whoever is that number comment. You want to pick a number?
19.
19. All right. So I'm going to find comment 19. Give me just a second. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 19 is not a comment, but it is it's like an alert that someone's watching. Tim Arundel. Congratulations, Tim Arundel. You are now the proud owner of this Predator commission from Dani. So thank you very much for tuning in, Tim. You are a winner. We'll have it in your box at Chimera's Comics Oak Lawn. And I want to remind you guys, we're going to give away one more at the end of the broadcast. We've got Michael Myers that we're going to give away. Very good.
Yeah.
And remember, in 13 minutes on Facebook and on YouTube, we're going to be premiering The Clockwork Man, which is an original single-take horror film that we worked on last weekend. So I'm very excited.
If you're digging the anthology stuff.
Yeah, you'll like Clockwork Man then. So this next one I'm excited about, Digger's Grove by Kevin Folliard and JT Malloy.
Oh, yes.
Cousins and creative partners. And this one is like classic 80s slasher horror. It's almost so bright. I know there's a lot of glare on the screen. I'm sorry about that. But Digger's Grove is going to be it's going to fill kind of that gap of the classic horror movie that we probably grew up on. So this is another different kind of monster story, slasher story.
Yeah, two more incredibly talented people.
They're fantastic, and they both actually did 2 stories. So they both did Digger's Grove together. Folliard also wrote a prose piece we're going to include called The Beetle Problem.
Oh, yes.
And it's awesome. It's like that episode of The Simpsons, where the lizards come to town and they're like,
yeah,
we're going to have the snakes eat the lizards. And then we're going to have the gorillas beat the snakes. Mm-hmm. And like, it just gets worse.
Yeah.
And that's what his story is all about. So it's supernatural, but it's more fun. It's less scary, but it's more fun.
Yeah, yeah.
And then JT did a short story called about his character, the Sapphire Spectre. Mm. And I tell it, it's like if Freddy Krueger were a superhero. She has the power to like die and come back to life, but when she's dead, she's in this like spirit, like dream world, and she can travel around and has powers. And so
which is also a fantastic comic that we carry. So
yes, we have the Sapphire Spectre.
And give him some love because his stuff is awesome too.
Yeah, and so he's going to put this Sapphire Spectre short. I think it's called Fetch Quest, which is recently named. And it's about the Sapphire Spectre trying to help out like a ghost dog, which is a very cute idea if you're a pet lover like myself.
It better have a happy ending. Don't be
seriously.
And
I haven't read it yet.
Hurt us.
We're getting comments. Matt Rogina says I rock. Thank you, Matt. I think you rock. And Jason says he thinks all the artwork looks great from Cellar Door. Raf's got to run. Thanks, Raf. Good talking to you. Thanks for joining us today. The next one I want to share with you is called The Artist. This is another short prose piece from our friend Brian Fisher.
Oh, yeah.
Brian's a longtime customer, is a owner of Defiant Comics, and he wrote a prose piece about an artist who's a writer whose work takes on a life of its own. I'll leave it at that.
And very, very much based in his fatherhood as well.
Yeah.
That's an important part of the story.
Probably another true story, I think, if I had to guess.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Based on true events, that one there. Then we have the Clockwork Man story that the short film is inspired by. And the Clockwork Man is a character Nicholas and I came up with. But the short story, he wrote it himself. My brother is amazing, and he's better than me in every way. And he's publishing his first book in December. Like, got a publisher, picked him up. Gen Z Publishing is putting out Nicholas Chimera's The Crusader. The first weekend of December, we'll do a launch party here for it, or at the Oak Lawn store for it.
And that is like, it's like a young adult.
It's a young adult novel,
right?
Yeah, he wrote a whole novel, and it's coming out in hardcover. I can't believe it. And so he deigned to come to our level and submit to Cellar Door, and he wrote The Clockwork Man, and it's about 3 teenagers who find an abandoned cathedral in search of eternal life, and instead they find quite the opposite. Then we have the Norman inversion from Ryan Flaherty and Matt Hastings, and in the Norman inversion, it's like a Total Recall kind of future where there's these like memory machines, and this really unscrupulous guy gets his hands on it. As Ryan put it, it's very sci-fi, so this is the sci-fi part of the sci-fi horror, I promised you. But as Ryan put it, it's more like morally horrifying.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of like Salad Fingers. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
It reminds me a little bit of that, and that's why like I'm really stoked to get to read it, because I saw when it was sort of earlier in production, I saw some of the art for it, and it was like, okay, this looks really cool and kind of twisted. And then like, you know, when he started telling me like, okay, this is what's going on, it's like, okay, yeah, this is really really interesting.
Ryan Mastler says he can't wait for Cellar Door. Thank you, Ryan. I'm excited. Just trying to pull up some artwork from the Norman inversion, but I seem to be taxing our bandwidth to the like absolute maximum here. So in any case, I'll move on. We've got this one's ours. So Danny and I did one together. It's called the Oedipus Paradox. It is the most messed up thing I could possibly come up with. It's disgusting and horrifying. But it's this idea of sort of like the grandfather paradox of time travel. If you're not familiar with it, the grandfather paradox is this idea that could you go back in time and kill your grandfather? Well, no, because if you kill him, then you're never born. But if you're never born, then you can never go back and kill him. Mm-hmm. So he's alive. So you're born. So you can go back and kill him. And it's just this paradox. There's no answer to it, right?
Yeah.
So the Oedipus paradox kind of takes that head on. It sort of asks, sort of like, can this guy go back in time and kill his father? And then what are the consequences if he does? And Dani did the artwork for it. And it really bothered me a lot. Actually seeing...
I know. When I first sent him the pages, he was just like, man, this is really messed up. I'm kind of sorry I made you draw this.
Yeah,
draw this.
I'm actually I'm terrified to share it with you because I mean, there's like parental abuse in here and stuff, and like it's really just as my dad logs into YouTube. Thanks.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Proud of me.
Here's a murder scene.
Yeah. The funny thing is, Magnificent is like has a lot of me in it, and it has a lot of like not only in the story, but like Stephen Brown drew my parents' house for the Magnificent's house, and he drew like my dad for the Magnificent's dad. So everyone's going to assume that I'm in this as well. Yeah. I can't relate to the Oedipus paradox at all. Like at all. I can't. I don't like this character. I think he's like a shitty human being.
Sure. Okay.
No, really. He's like a bad guy. He's like really terrible. But
like Eddie Brock says in Venom, like, well, this is a bad guy.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Really a bad guy.
Yeah, in case you guys missed it.
That?
Yeah, Dani really came to like Venom after we had that talk earlier.
Yeah, totally.
I won her over. So I'm almost done with Cellar Door here. I got a few more. We have The Shed. All right, so The Shed is oh man. So my wife came up with this. She had this nightmare like in college. Here are some character designs if you guys can see here. She had this nightmare. And she told me about it, and I said, that's truly awful. It's the most real of all the stories in there. It kind of deals with this idea of like abuse of power in this place that's sort of like forgotten to time. I won't go much more into it than that. There'll be more synopsis and things later. But The Shed is by far the most real of any of the stories. But I can't stress enough, guys. The reality of it is what makes it so bothersome, right? What's in this shed is beyond my wildest nightmares. So when my wife was like, I was thinking about doing a comic book off of it, would you put it in Cellar Door? I was like, yeah, I would put it in Cellar Door. That would be freaking awesome. Yeah. And so I'm excited for you all to find out what's inside the shed. Natalie says that salad fingers is life. Thank you, Natalie. I agree. Natalie's taken off for the night, but we're glad she stuck around.
Bye, Natalie. Thanks.
Oh, guys, this one's awesome. So one of my favorite people in the world, he was on with us earlier. I don't know if he still is. Jimmy Litz is one of the most talented and nicest guys you'll ever meet in your entire life. And he did a story called The Umbrella People. And again, this juxtaposition of his kind of fun, cartoony art style with how gruesome this comic is the idea is that there's secrets in the rain, and there's secrets in the people who walk around in the rain in the umbrellas, and it's sort of this like cultish like thing that's going on, and it's really, really disturbing. So that's coming out too in the umbrella.
What are you talking about? He looks totally friendly.
Yeah, right. He looks like a lot of our customers. Right?
What is happening?
Oh,
here?
I know. I got savage.
We were all like, "Oh, our customers are the best. They're so nice." Like, oh yeah, it looks like this guy. I'm
trying to drag him out, trying to get him to talk to us here. We offered the call-in feature. No one's called.
You see what this guy does?
That's right. So I'm difficult to get along with. I understand. And then finally, the last one is called Undeath Before Dishonor. I don't have any of the artwork with me to show you. It is completely done. My friend Troy Namath wrote it as it was an award-winning short story, and then he decided it would make a great comic book, and he did the artwork for it is amazing. It's like ghostly, and it's really like ethereal, and he and I both took a stab at writing it, so he's got a version of it that's very like, and it's coming out in single form from his own Kickstarter. It's like more poetic, really, and it's this like meditation about like the ghosts that haunt us. And then I wrote one that was a little bit more literal in the narrative and stuck a little closer to his original vision. But it's Full Metal Jacket meets Paranormal Activity, and it deals with something important head on, which is ultimately why I'm so excited about doing horror, because there's a chance in horror to talk about real things that we're like afraid to talk about, right?
Yeah, you use extraordinary means to represent very real issues and problems that everyday people face.
Right.
Which is what adds the level of terror to it.
Right, exactly. Well, kids, we promised you we'd wrap it up at 9, and we're almost out of time. So we got one more prize to give away. And then there's going to be at the end of this, I'll share the link, but the world premiere of the Clockwork Man is at 9 o'clock. It'll be live on Facebook in a moment. It'll be live on YouTube at the same time. So we'll go ahead and give away this Michael Myers sketch. Unfortunately, I won't be able to help Dani with her come to Jesus moment on Rick and Morty tonight, but we'll just go ahead and assume that.
I can make this real fast and just say, like, it's not that I don't like Rick and Morty, I just don't get it.
Oh, yeah. That's so.
So as people that like it, I totally understand why you like it. Like, I read the Rick and Morty D&D comic, and that was really funny. But it's a lot like, it's kind of like Family Guy and stuff like that, where it's like, you know, you might get a few chuckles out of me for the most part, but I like The Simpsons.
Yeah, The Simpsons are great.
Yeah.
The Simpsons are my wife's favorite.
It's so timeless. Anyway, all right, that's it.
Jerna says I can't have any more Monster. Jerna, you know, I would have not drank this because it has so much sugar, but I got sick. I won't say who got me sick because she might be watching. And yeah, but I needed a little bit of juice in the tank, so, you know.
I mean, once you pop it, you can't, you know, you have to just go all in.
Right, exactly. So without further ado, let's pick a comment from, say, 20 to 30. We have some people in the mix on YouTube as well. So I'm going to, how should I do this? You got a suggestion for me? How should we give these away?
Well, if you want to do something on YouTube, I mean, we can pick a number between, you know.
Give a YouTube prize away?
Yeah.
So
we did 2 on Facebook, yeah.
Maybe I should. So Jimmy's on both, and so is, or he was on both, and so is Jason. The McIlvains and my dad are both on YouTube. So I'm going to add them in at the numbers, at particular numbers that I won't tell you because you're going to pick the numbers.
Okay.
So
you said?
Pick a number between 20 and, say, 30.
Okay. How about 26?
26, okay. All righty. Give me a second, and I'll tell you who wins. You know, as I scroll through, there's so many comments. Why don't we pick a number between, forget it, 26. Let's just do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, wait, Tim was 19, right? So we can just start with 19.
Yeah, I was going to say.
20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 26 is another who's watching. David Byrne. Congratulations, David.
Yay!
You are the winner of the Michael Myers original sketch. So we will, David, I'm afraid I apologize if you're local. I don't know that I recall, but wow, David just commented he just watched the entire Simpsons run straight through. It took a 1.5 years. Wow, you really earned this, Michael Myers. David, I don't know if you're local or not. If you are, let us know which Chimera's Comics you want to pick this up at. And if you're not, private message me your address and we'll mail it out to you. So that's it for the prizes. That's almost all the time we have for today. Is there anything you wanted to share with the audience before we introduce them to the Clockwork Man?
I hope the Carnage movie is great.
I hope it's as good as Venom, at least. All right, everyone, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. I'm going to confess, I'm not exactly sure about this next part here. I'm going to try to, I'm going to share on YouTube in the link to the Clockwork Man on YouTube, and on Facebook, I'll share the link to the video on Facebook. So otherwise, you can find them both at our channels right now. So thank you all very much for tuning in.
Yeah,
we really appreciate it.
Guys.
And in just a moment, I'll have the link to the Clockwork Man for all of you to watch.
Yeah, stop by. If you're not busy this weekend, stop by on Saturday. It's the Walking Dead Day.
Oh, yeah.
And we do have a bunch of the blind bag variants. They are 1 per person, first come, first serve. But I know a lot of people have been kind of talking about the hype behind that. And then we also still have some of the facsimiles of issue 1. So come get some cool Walking Dead stuff.
And one other thing I forgot is that if you want to know more about Cellar Door and you want to know when it's live, go to the link I'm just going to post now. It's bit.ly/lookinthecellar, or you can go to chimerascomics.com/Cellar Door, and you will. I'll keep you up to date. You'll be on my emailing list. I try not to email too often, but we'll be able to send you a free preview comic. I'll have the preview comic on Monday. So I'm going to share with you a lot of it. I'm going to share about a third of the graphic novel with you if you're on the mailing list. So definitely log into chimerascomics.com/Cellar Door. Sharing the link now. And I'd love to keep you up to date on Cellar Door. And then without further ado, I've shared the link to the Clockwork Man on YouTube. I'm pulling up the link to it on Facebook now. And tell you what, on Kickstarter, we'll go ahead and throw in YouTube link. Danny reminded me I should promote something after she mentioned Walking Dead Day. I was like, oh yeah, I should take this opportunity. She's much better at this than I am.
Always be branding.
Always be branding, exactly. So, all right, and here is the, got it here. This is the link to the Clockwork Man. I don't know how to share the link to this into the comments. Does anybody know how to do that?
I think if you click on published, go up.
Maybe if I click on the video, will that do it?
No, it has to be the post itself that you're sharing, essentially.
Oh, God.
So usually if you go by, it'll be like, oh, published on blah, blah, blah date. If you click on that, it'll take you to the direct link for the post itself and the video.
That's a very handy tip you just showed me.
Usually, anyway. I could be wrong.
All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna put the YouTube link in the Facebook comments. There we go.
Just watch it wherever you watch it.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoy the Clockwork Man. It's my wife's debut as an actress. So thank you all for tuning in. I had a lot of fun tonight. I hope you did too.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
End live video. All right, we're off on Facebook. We are.
Wingapo. Or no, that's hello. Anan.
I'm not sure we ever made it happen on Kickstarter, actually, now that I look at it. There was like a button for it. Oh.
Really?
No.